I think the corporate world, unfortunately, has developed a lot of AI technology to kind of vet out applicants. And if they don't tick off every criteria, then it doesn't even get to the first phase of the interview process. And that's unfortunate. I really think that is unfortunate because you can look great on paper and have every credential, but then you can lack confidence, lack ingenuity, lack teamwork, lack organic growth in terms of your thought process. And you can't really identify that. Even our ownership saw the value in hiring veterans. It's just that, you know what, they might not know our industry, but they're capable of learning because they have the skill set to persevere and go through basic training, AIT, and then have a military career to serve our country. That's value in itself. And that's what people have to remember when they're coming out and going to an organization is, again, what is your value? What can you offer to that company? And I would offer the companies to interview somebody. Just take a chance because you never know. 7 years ago, again, I was a salesperson to director to president of this organization. And that is just perseverance through my leadership training and values that I gained from there at the end of the day.
Welcome to the 7 Eagle Group podcast, your home for inspiring stories, valuable tips, and great advice from hard-charging veterans so you can lead a more rewarding and lucrative post-military career.
I love to share stories of veterans who are absolutely kicking ass in their career. And today I got a really special guest, somebody who I met 7 years ago when we placed him into his first job after serving for 7 years in the Special Forces. He was an Army Ranger, had a really incredible military career, and then came out, wanted to go down the business development route. And now he is running a 170-person company out in San Francisco. They do print, design, they fabricate, and they install these incredible large format, creative print, digital, display signage. We'll get all into that. And we're going to include some video as well of the type of work that his team is doing. But I just love this story because here's an example of just the talent that this military community can bring to corporate America. A guy 7 years ago starts out at an entry mid-level position and then climbs up to now be president of the company. So just so honored today to know Rob Heckman and to be a part of his amazing story. So Rob, thanks so much, man, for jumping on today.
Yeah, absolutely, Jody. I appreciate you guys, and a big shout out to Tom as well. It's you guys have placed me in this organization 7 years ago, and who would have thought that now today, officially a couple of weeks ago, I was announced as president. It's just a testament of finding the right people in the right places to put them into, and putting your skills to work. And you never know what can happen at the end of the day.
Hey, congrats, man. What a quick climb. It just shows how, this leadership, this grit, this toughness that the military can bring to a company. And you are a shining example of what someone can do from this community. But talk a little bit about your story. Let's jump in the beginning. Do you mind sharing a little bit about your military experience and what that was like? And
yeah, it's kind of crazy because it feels like I lived 1,000 years. But realistically, 7 years in the Army. I was in the Marine Battalion, then I went to I-Corps, and then I finished out my second enlistment through the military police. And then it's just, I went to the civilian world, did 17 years of law enforcement, which the military background helped me to get into law enforcement, and then had multiple assignments through there, if you name it, through A to Z, whether it's, training officer all the way up to tactical officer for 7 years, and instructor to narcotics, special investigations. And then I got out into the real world, what I call the real world, not a paramilitary organization, if you will, the civilian sector. And then I worked for Sega for just over 6 years, ran their North American business here for one of their amusement divisions. And then I was like, I don't know. And that's when I reached out to you guys.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, I joke about this now, but one thing I will say, a testament with for you, Jordy, and 7 Eagle Group and Tom, is that you really listened to what the wants are. But and what I would say as a piece of advice for everyone coming out is focus on what you can bring to the table, and not just be a Swiss Army knife, if you will, because that's kind of like vanilla. But understand what you did and understand what value you can bring, whether you're a non-commissioned officer or even if you're just an enlisted person. It's not just you were in the service, you have military structure, you have discipline, and you know what an organization needs. And that's very important in the outside world because accountability is very big, and that's what we have in our organization. And I would say they have to focus on just be yourself, really know who you are and what, and just be real about it. Don't say you can do everything at the end of the day, and don't act like everything. Just be humble and understand your capabilities and willingness to learn.
Dial in on that. Yeah, you did that to a T, man. And you're referring to Tom Swack, one of our top managers, great guy who was the person who you connected with you and placed you into A3 Visual. So let's talk a little bit about A3 and tell everyone a little bit more, give a little better description of what I did of the work you guys do.
You actually did quite well. You did
all right. I'll
you
take
did better
it.
than a lot of interviewees.
I'll take it. But you guys work with you do this signage for everyone in the Stanley Cup to NASCAR. You're doing a big convention for Bitcoin down in Nashville now. You do big music events. I mean, it's just the displays are absolutely stunning, and it's not your typical banner hanging out, but these are large format. Why don't you tell everyone a little bit about your services?
Yeah, I still giggle about it to this day. Our company A3 Visual was we're doing DBA's A3 Visual. We went through a rebrand after we came out of COVID.
Yep.
But our company name started as AAA Flag and Banner. Phone book days. The owner, Howard First, developed this company. Literally, so you can find the name first in the phone book.
Quadruple A.
We're 53 years old. And then he developed this idea of, hey, I can fix banners. Oh, now I can print banners. The first major job was doing the Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. So he got his footprint into there and started that. And then it was your typical silk screening, things of that nature. And as the company progressed through the years, his son, Craig First, who is now our CEO, came on board. He's been with us for just over 30 years. And he was born in a factory, literally just walking around with his dad. And then he brought us into the digital age of printing and manufacturing and allowed us to have scalability in our space that we work in. And then the company continued to grow and grow. We had brick and mortars, then we closed those down to focus on events. And like you said, we do everything from the Golden Globes to MTV Music Awards to BET to Bitcoin convention that we have immersive digital technology with projection mapping. Our team is recognized globally now for that event. We do an annual event in San Francisco where we light up all downtown financial district with artists work from around the world and transform buildings. It's really not, this is why I laugh is when Tom and you put me into connection with AAA Flag and Banner, my wife was like, you went from the corporate world and at Sega Sammy, and you're going to go work for FedEx Kinko's.
Yeah, that's funny.
And, and this is, I would say, sometimes you just have to take a chance and listen to your gut and your instincts. And that's what we've been taught through military careers. Your gut will keep you alive at the end of the day. And it's just something about the company. And this is a good point for anybody coming out is, don't just throw your application into 100 different companies, because then you really get diluted. You need to understand who you want to interview with. What does the company do? Is that going to be a good fit? And is it interesting enough to keep you engaged?
Yeah.
When you can identify with the company, then it makes, I think this might be an opportunity. And we did my video interview, which you have us do. Yep. You presented that interview to our ownership here and during an interview process. And they're like, literally the next day, you're like, hey, they want to interview you. They flew me down, and then they hired me on the site. But so that's a little bit about our company. If you see it on TV, it's probably us touching it. We work with NHL, NBA, MLB, with teams and universities across the nation. We're in San Francisco, Miami, Los Angeles is our headquarters, and we're getting ready to launch a new location in Vegas as well.
Wow.
You never know at the end of the day.
I love how you guys you pivoted so beautifully. You're doing these printed banners and that was it. And then the digital revolution comes about, right? And you can now are doing these incredible digital displays all over the place. So it's there's so many companies who stick to what they did and they don't change with the times. But man, you guys are absolutely dominating that.
Yeah, no, it's been a roller coaster, a fun ride.
Yeah,
We had COVID and we came out of COVID, and we were one of a few companies in our industry that didn't collapse just because
yeah,
of the innovation of the ownership and the ideas of, hey, we can't just do X, we have to pivot, and that's
yeah,
when we go into barriers and things of that nature. And I don't know if everybody remember the fan cutouts in the stadiums.
yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
the San Francisco Giants and us, we had a collaboration. We joked about this, and this literally kept our company alive during the pandemic. Was the fan cutouts?
Those cutouts. Wow.
Yeah, the Giants saw a Taiwan's baseball team do this in the stands, and so they're like, "Hey, you guys think we should do this? If we can get, we'll put it on our social media. If we get like 500 people, their marketing team was going to be ecstatic, literally. Like, if we can get 500 people interested, that'd be kind of a funny little shtick." Well, it grew into that to almost 20,000
Oh my God.
cutouts that we created and put fans in the
Wow.
stadiums, and they gave them out afterwards to the fan base. And then that precipitated to all the other sports teams and to basketball, the baseball.
Yeah.
And we just started doing all the collegiate sports with fan cutout programs. So it was quite unique. And that's where another piece of advice, just be flexible.
Yeah.
You do what you need to do to be happy in your career, but be open-minded in
Be
terms
open.
of
Yeah.
what opportunities are out there. And I think that's the most important aspect to keep.
How do you feel, Rob, your time with the Rangers? How did that prepare you for this career for your post-military career? How did that make you sort of the man you are today? How did that get you on this fast track?
Well, I did my schooling while I was in the military. I didn't do the typical route out of high school and then go to college and then go into the service afterwards. But I didn't know what I wanted to do. So
Yeah.
I listed. Now, my dad told me to go Air Force. I should have probably listened to him because my body would be a little bit in better shape right now without my knee reconstruction and things of that nature. But, when I first went into the battalion, I think that taught me, and I was in 2nd 75th up in Fort Lewis. I think the most important aspect about us is teamwork, perseverance, and just don't give up at the end of the day, right? You have to have a serious gut check, and coming out from the military and transitioning into the private sector is going to be a very big gut check for everyone, because you're going to have highs and lows. You're going to feel depressed. You're going to have a lot of anxiety. What do I do? Where do I belong? And all these things that they have to revert back to. Hey, I served our country. I protected our country. I protect our liberties and rights. And I can do that in the private sector. It's just, how do you transition out and just have faith and confidence? And the military trained you
To do it,
to
right?
be who you are, and just bear through it. You'll make it.
Yeah.
Trust me. You're not in a combat situation or a military operation where you're gonna potentially lose your life or one of your comrades' lives.
Right.
This is the private sector now. Everything we do, you're not, even if you do something wrong, you're not going to die from it.
You'll learn from it. Right.
You'll learn from it. Just take
Have that confidence, though, that you've been trained well and you could adapt and learn and grow and all that. That's great. What advice would you have, Rob, for other business owners, other hiring managers who haven't hired military yet, who are considering it? What can a trained service member, trained veteran bring to their teams?
I think the corporate world, unfortunately, has developed a lot of AI technology to kind of vet out applicants. And if they don't tick off every criteria, then it doesn't even get to the first phase of the interview process. And that's unfortunate. I really think that is unfortunate, because you can look great on paper and have every credential, but then you can lack confidence, lack ingenuity, lack teamwork, lack organic growth in terms of your thought process. And you can't really identify that. And as company owners and even our ownership saw the value in hiring veterans, is just that, they might not know our industry, but they're capable of learning because they have the skill set to persevere and go through basic training, AIT, and then have a military career to serve our country. That's value in itself. And that's what people have to remember when they're coming out and going to an organization is, again, what is your value? What can you offer to that company? And I would offer the companies to interview somebody. Just take a chance, because you never know.
Yeah.
7 years ago, again, I was a salesperson to director to president of this organization. And that
Yeah.
is just perseverance through my leadership training and values that I gained from there at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I love it, man, and I'm just so proud to call you a friend and that we cross paths. And I love seeing stories like yours where you're just absolutely knocking the cover off the ball. So, anyone who's listening, check out A3 Visual if your company could use any of their services. There's nobody better in the country who does this type of work. And make sure to, connect with Rob on LinkedIn. He's just a great guy, and I know he'd be available to help any veteran who might need someone to talk to or need advice. So, Rob, thank you again, man. All the best success to you and A3, and keep cranking, buddy.
Yeah, thank you, Joy, 70 Eagle Group. And I echo that. If anybody wants to reach out, my door is open, and I'll try to help guide as best as possible through my experiences. And just, I had a lot of people help me out through my careers, and I'm more than willing to help any veteran out there who serve our country as well.
Awesome. Thank you.